Hey everyone, welcome to Taking the Pulse, a healthcare and life sciences video podcast. I am Heather Hoops Matthews in our South Carolina studio today. First joined by Lauren DeMoss, a Maynard Nexen healthcare attorney in our Alabama studio. Lauren, good to see you.
Thanks so much, Heather. It's great to be here today.
And we are excited to have joining us from her office in Florida. We're covering the whole Southeast, I think. Kimberlee Steele. She is Managing Director of North America for SHL Medical. This is a global solutions leader in the medical technology industry, and SHL Medical designs and manufactures advanced delivery devices such as self-injectors. The Switzerland-based company has operations on multiple continents and is currently building an advanced facility in North Charleston, South Carolina. Kimberlee, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Would you please start us off by telling us a little bit about SHL Medical and why the company chose South Carolina in 2022, and then I saw an additional investment in North Carolina for another expansion.
Sure. So SHL, as you said, is the global leader in autoinjector and self-injection systems, which have become very much in the news these days, right? There's a lot of medications that are moving to self-administration. We are a global company, and we did have a significant presence in both Asia and in Europe, but we really wanted to have a significant facility and a significant presence in the United States to address the markets there. We chose South Carolina for quite a number of different reasons. First and foremost was the workforce that we're going to be needing. This is going to be a very highly automated, highly technical type of manufacturing, and we really needed skilled workers that had experience in injection molding, in automation systems. We're not looking for people to push boxes around a factory because we have completely automated logistics systems for that. So we wanted people that understood medical design, engineering, those sorts of things. And South Carolina had a really strong workforce for that. And we've continued to build relationships with a number of different education institutions, vocational institutions, so we can, cultivate the kind of relationships we need.
Kimberlee, it sounds you mentioned the available workforce, and I'm just curious if South Carolina's kind of technical college system kind of played a little bit into the decision to come to South Carolina. And I guess as a tag on to that, when can we expect the operations to be up and running?
Yeah, absolutely. No, the technical college system is definitely very interesting to us. We've been doing some work with the Trident Technical College, and we've definitely done some things with them, and we are looking at other technical colleges in the area to help support the workforce. In terms of when we're getting started, we already have hired 180 people on site, and we've been getting operations ready. We've been getting the equipment set up. We've been doing all of the validations and those sorts of activities, and we should be in commercial production by September of this year. So with those first 180 people already in place, we should be over 300 people hired by the end of 2024.
That is the speed of lightning. That is really exceptionally impressive. So with 180 people already hired, tell us a little bit about what the jobs might be like. I know you said highly automated, but what would a potential colleague be doing?
Sure. So the primary activities that are handling there are the manufacture of these auto-injector systems for self-delivering medication. So we've got injection molding technicians, we have automation technicians that are supporting the automated assembly of these sorts of things. We have quality engineers, we have device design engineers, and then we have all of the other functions that you would need to support an operation of this site, including, the finance and supply chain and accounting and administrative. But most of the technical positions are going to be, operators that can understand, fix, and run really complex equipment and not just, push an on-off button. These are really exciting jobs, and we're investing in the newest technology. So it's fun to be able to work with the best of everything.
Kimberlee, when you think about kind of the rise of home therapy and therapy given kind of outside of a typical clinical care setting after the 2020 pandemic, how will the company's auto-injectors really impact healthcare access for maybe residents living in rural areas or those that are homebound?
Sure. So the self-administration of these medications has definitely changed. COVID brought that to a light, and you're seeing many of the new medications that historically you had to go into a doctor's office and have, the doctor assist you with an injection, taking a vial, pulling out the syringe. That's a kind of activity that really does intimidate a lot of patients. So to be able to have a device that hides the needle, that does the protection, allowing somebody to give themselves an injection in 10 or 15 or 30 seconds that normally would take driving to a doctor's office and driving back and having somebody else. It's a huge freedom provider for these patients with chronic conditions, particularly ones that may have to administer a medication every single week. And the benefits of that is just compounded for folks that are in more rural areas where they may have to drive an hour or more to the closest medical support. So being able to ship medications directly to patients and allow them to do this in the comfort of their home is really providing a lot of value to patients, and it's decreasing the stress on the medical system, for these simple types of activities.
Yeah, it certainly relieves folks having to come back or have follow-up appointments than maybe when they can just do them at home now.
Yeah, absolutely. People love it.
In doing research for this conversation, I saw a number of articles on sustainability when it comes to your company, actually more so than I normally see. Can you talk to us a little bit about the commitment?
Yeah. Sustainability is very important to SHL Medical, and we have a very thorough ESG strategy that incorporates not only sustainability, but also ethical operations and how we're structured. But on the sustainability front itself, we have signed up for the Science-Based Targets Initiative, where we're making measurable commitments in terms of what we're going to do to decrease our greenhouse gas emissions in order to decrease any waste streams coming through. We're very specifically designing our products to be able to have less waste. We're designing our facilities to be able to recycle materials that we're using. And the facility itself in North Charleston was designed with sustainability in mind. So we are LEED certified in the design of the facility. We're using 100% renewable energy. And as I said, we're taking special efforts to make sure that we're recycling, and the injection molding machines themselves, they are these newer electric injection molding machines that have a lower environmental impact than the predecessor equipment.
Thinking about and Heather alluded to the recent acquisition in North Carolina. Can you tell us a little bit about, I guess, current future plans in terms of bringing more kind of operations to the United States, to the Southeast, kind of what's on the horizon?
Absolutely. So the acquisition that we did in North Carolina was for the tooling support. So SHL Medical is fully vertically integrated. So not only do we design and manufacture these devices, but we also design and manufacture the automation equipment that assembles the devices. We're making and manufacturing all of our own tooling, which we're now doing in South Carolina or North Carolina. So the North Carolina site will be supporting a lot of the equipment and tooling that's needed for the manufacturing that we're doing in South Carolina. You see a lot of the demand for these types of products in the United States, and it makes sense to have this located in the United States. You see, there's been a push, obviously, for pharmaceutical products and medical devices to be made in the US, and we're definitely staying on the front of that. South Carolina has been a completely wonderful place for us to do business. It really has been fantastic. Everyone has been very welcoming. The people want to live there, want to work there. So it's really been fantastic for us across the board. But the overall global strategy of the company is to be able to have this vertically integrated end-to-end solution from the equipment to the manufacturing and then to the final assembly as well, to have this in multiple markets. So, in Asia, we'll make for Asia. In the US, we'll make for the US. And in Europe, we'll make for Europe. And that leads into some of the sustainability objectives as well, because you don't want to be making product and shipping it all over the world. If you can make it closer to the point of which it's going to be used, there's a sustainability advantage to that as well.
I have to imagine that also is going to help just with logistics overall.
Absolutely. A lot of the products that end up going in these devices need to be refrigerated. Once you make the device and then you combine it with the drug product that's coming from the pharmaceutical company, you want to have the logistics all together. And I think we all learned lessons during COVID about supply chain, having multiple options, multiple places to get the things. So, while we are producing for multiple markets from the US, I would see a lot of it will be staying in the US, which is great.
Now, if you don't mind, we noticed that you attended law school and you've built an exceptional career in the life sciences industry. But if you wouldn't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself and also, maybe how you've seen the industry change. We have watched the life sciences industry just expand greatly in the Southeast, which is where Lauren and I are based.
Yes.
And I have to imagine being in it yourself that you've seen it grow and change as well.
So I'll tell you, it is a fantastic industry to be a part of. I am sincerely and genuinely enthusiastic about every single thing I'm able to learn and see. When I started out, and indeed it was not my intent to be in pharmaceuticals or in medical device, it was one of those things that just kind of happened accidentally over the course of my career. But many, many years ago, I got involved in the contract manufacturing space for different types of pharmaceutical products. And what I loved about that is you see things in the very earliest stages of development. It's before they're on the market. We'll see these products 10 years before they hit the market, and we get to be a part of helping move them through clinical trials and move them into commercialization. So it's really exciting in the contract space to be able to see all of the things that are under the development and all of the new solutions that will be coming forward to patients. There's so many new technologies, so many advancements as you see, in the olden days, in this particular space, the patient would have to fumble with a vial and a syringe and alcohol pads, and it was a very cumbersome process. So to be able to have it just be, a one touch and 15 seconds and you move on, it's really fantastic. So I just, there's always something to learn and there's always new innovations. And it's great for me to see, the South focusing on life sciences and expanding, these life science centers and really building an ecosystem of like-minded companies that can build off of each other in terms of innovation and technology.
Well, we're glad to have you here in South Carolina. I can tell you that. Kimberlee Steele with SHL Medical. Man, Q3 is going to be here by the time we blink, and you'll be in commercial production and then have a grand opening next year. And we just welcome you to the Southeast on behalf of Lauren and our entire Taking the Pulse team. Thank you for taking your time to join us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And for those of you who joined this episode, we hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about SHL Medical. We look forward to your feedback. Send us your ideas for future hosts. We welcome them. And we look forward to seeing you next time, right here on Taking the Pulse, a healthcare and life sciences video podcast.